Hello, everyone. Welcome to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're looking at a new book, The Story of More, and it's a book about climate change, really. And chapter one, Our Story Begins. So the story begins with the author just talking about three really famous characters. Well, at least one definitely famous. Edison, um, Balchin, and Hubbard. And these three people tried to fight climate change in some way. Edison, he started and he was talking with Henry Ford and someone that made tires, Firestone, something. And he was telling them, man, I hope we can harness the power of the sun and heat before all the gas runs out. Belchin was exploring the glaciers and noticing that they were like disappearing and was trying to tell people about it, but someone else said he was lying. And then Hubert, who is this person? A scientist? I can't remember. I might remember as I'm going through this again. Um, but just another person trying to explain that climate change was happening and that we needed to prepare. And I can't exactly remember his role. But the author goes off and says, all right, hey, let's look at 1969. Year, a lot of things happened. And she talks about how a river caught on fire, how oil was spilt all over the Californian coast, and there's other different things. Also, she was born, and her parents thought, oh, we're gonna give this baby everything that we can, and she's gonna live in a bright, wonderful world. And that was the year that she was born. Jumping 40 years later, she was looking at her work in 2009. It sounds like she's a professor, and her department head says, hey, I want you to teach a course on climate change and, that kind of perspective. I don't think she used the word global warming, but certainly climate change. And she's like, I don't want to do it. But that's her job. So she gets to it and she starts researching and she ends up creating this course where she starts talking about climate change. Now, one of the problems with Balchin and I think Hubert was they tried to predict what would happen in the next 10 years, 20 years, and their predictions were wrong. And so people started to ignore what scientists were saying. So for her, she's not trying to predict, or the class that she made, she's not trying to predict what will happen, but simply talk about where we are now and what has happened. And that's the course that she's created. And it's all about how the world has changed. And it has changed. And so she's going to look at those different things and try to explain to us to help give us some perspective on climate change and change within our environment. And that is the end of chapter one. So, going into vocabulary. First word here, colleagues. Colleagues are people at the same level as you, doing the same kind of work as you. Oftentimes used in classes or for teachers, for professors, the other professors around you. We don't say like co-workers. They're not like working and doing this thing with you. They're colleagues. They're people you work to. Oh, I don't like to use that word. Educate together. So it has this kind of higher level of feeling. And we could use like in business too. They might use the word colleagues, but certainly in education used a lot. Shouted down. So when what was his name? Balchin, when he was saying the ice caps are melting, another guy, Whitman something, he shouted him down. He had such a loud, strong voice that that pushed down the other person's opinion with the force of his words. So shouted down. Premiered is to start at the very first show. I think she talks about Sesame Street. Sesame Street's first TV show started in 1969. That premiered the first showing. Sesame Street is a very famous TV show in America that taught kids how to count, how to look at the colors, how to read, all these different things, and it was all done by puppets on the TV show. Big Bird is one of the more famous characters. Elmo is another famous character from Sesame Street. And she talks about a bunch of different other things. And Walmart. I think Walmart started in 1969. Now the largest employer, I think in the world, she said, private employer. Euphoria is this feeling of gladness, of joy, that almost this chemical happiness. And after you have a baby and the baby's healthy and the mom is healthy, dad and mom just feel so happy, and just in that euphoria they promise everything to their child. Slouched, putting their body down, their posture down, bending their back, lowering their slouch. And when her department head says, "Hope, I want you to teach a class on climate change," she slouched. Conferred is to kind of get advice, work together. So she goes back to her office and talks to her colleague and says, "Oh, I have to do a class on climate change. Oh, this is going to be awful. It's going to be terrible." And she confers, really is complaining, but she says that word confers to make it sound like there's this back and forth of sharing to generate a really great idea or something. Quantify. This means to measure something with numbers. So she's trying to quantify the data of how the world has been changing in the last, 100 years or so. And so she's trying to give us numbers to measure things by. All right. Discussion question. What do you do now, today, this week, that has the greatest impact on protecting the planet? All right? Now, I want you to think about your own life, okay? Think about daily things you do. Maybe, hey, there could be nothing. I don't really do anything. That's okay, right? But think about what you do day to day that has the greatest impact on protecting our planet and helping it change less, I guess. And I think we're going to get a lot more information on this. But I want to start there. What are you doing right now that's helping fight climate change? Of course, please make your own discussion question. I think we're going to be talking a lot about actions and future and the past and certainly climate change. But feel free to be a little bit more creative in that sense. You could ask, what were some important things that happened the year you were born? Whoa, man, I would have to do research on that one. But it's what you're thinking about while you're reading. So you don't have to have it specifically about academics or about climate change. It could just be a question that you thought about while you're reading the book. And there's a bunch popping in my mind, but I don't want to spoil and steal one of yours. Oh, that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'm going to fix that slide, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, if you have any questions about the video today, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. If you had any other vocabulary words that you wanted to know what they meant, let me know. And also, if you're interested in maybe joining one of these book clubs, please leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.